Welcome to Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. I'm Rob Wilson.
And I am Tony the Quano.
So, Tony, let's get into some anti-hero stuff. I mean, could be thought of as... No, we haven't. We haven't done many anti-heroes. We've done superheroes. We haven't really done anti-heroes. And I mean, this one, he could be considered a superhero to a certain extent, but he's really more of an anti-hero.
Yes.
But...
I mean, he's not straight up villain.
No.
So...
Oh, no.
I mean, which is why I would say he's, an anti-hero and at times a hero.
Mm-hmm. In fact, there's actually a nice little conversation about that topic in this movie.
There's a lot of conversations in this movie about
Yes.
many topics.
Yes, there are. That movie that we are doing today is, of course, Deadpool from 2016, starring Ryan Reynolds as the titular Deadpool.
The chimichanga loving anti-hero.
Even though there's really no
real
chimichangas. There's a mention of, there's
Yeah.
time to make the fucking chimichangas, but that's about the only mention to chimichangas.
You don't really see him stopping by some little mom and pop Mexican restaurant just asking for a chimichanga.
No, you don't. Although on the DVD menu, it's like the camera's placed inside a microwave.
Okay.
And you see him put a chimichanga in the microwave and then start the timer. And through the window on the door of the microwave, you see Blind Al putting together the cunin.
That's all right. There's something to be said about DVD menus.
Yeah.
Right? There's a certain joy in them. And, even sometimes they have little Easter eggs and fun things like that. Physical media, I did watch this digitally through Voodoo, but still.
Well, Fandango at home now.
Yes, now it's Fandango at home. But yeah, media for the win.
Yes.
Little things like
I watched it on the actual physical media because I have the 4K Blu-ray of it. And so I watched that.
Okay.
And that's where I saw the DVD menu.
I'm happy with doing this one because, strangely enough, I have never seen it.
Yeah, that surprised
8 years
me.
in.
That surprised me when you told me that.
Well, it came out in early 2016, right? It was a winter release. And, I remember it coming out and people have been wanting a Deadpool movie for a while.
Yeah, especially
once the MCU really got into gear and the X-Men movies got into gear. Because I understand he's a little bit more of a niche character, but he's got a true cult following.
Yeah, and he was done dirty in X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was done real dirty.
Yes. So
they needed to do it right.
Everyone was ready for Ryan Reynolds to be Deadpool.
Yeah.
X-Men Origins. There was that rumor, and it was just not good. There's nothing like the character.
Funny thing, though, I heard, I was reading an article a while back that now, as far as the validity of this article, I'm not 100% sure, but it would make sense. But in this article, there's an interview with Ryan Reynolds, and he was saying that when he was reading the script for X-Men Origins, he didn't like the way that they had portrayed Deadpool in it, because Deadpool was like his favorite character. And so he agreed to do the movie if they would allow him to make a Deadpool movie in the future, the way that he wanted to make it.
Well, there you go.
And so,
which explains a lot about the mid-credit sequence in Deadpool 2.
Yeah. So he did Deadpool. He played Deadpool in X-Men Origins, and then if that article is accurate, then that opened the door for him to be able to make a Deadpool movie the way that he wanted to, the way that a true fan would make one.
I think the timing was right, though, like for when this movie came out.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's, I guess at this point, right, he's not technically owned by Marvel Film Studios, right? He's still within Fox was owning him, right? But I mean, there's always, by that point, everyone's wanting them to integrate the two, right? And we've gone through the first, through phase 1 of the MCU. We're in the middle of phase 2 at the moment, right? Because, I guess Age of Ultron had already come out. So I guess we're actually
in phase 3.
The start of phase 3, right? So we're well into the MCU, and we've had plenty of X-Men movies.
Yeah. Yeah, right? At this point, it was talked about 8 years into the MCU, 16 years into the X-Men movies.
Right.
So, yeah.
And we talked about the Origins Wolverine kind of bombing. But then they kind of rebound with First Class and then Days of Future Past, which are both very successful movies.
Yes.
So we've had, at this point, 16 years of comic book movies being, specifically Marvel comic movies, being widely successful and being just part of regular pop culture.
Really, it'd be like 18 years because Blade Blade was 98, wasn't it?
Yes, Blade. That's right. And we didn't even mention there was no crossover at this point, but the Spider-Man movies as well. So I think it was kind of a perfect timing for a kind of a spoof.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yep.
And it's a very self-referential kind of meta movie about him.
Oh, very meta.
While also very much existing within that same universe.
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about Deadpool though is he breaks the fourth wall. He is just as much in these movies and in the comic books as he is the person watching the movies or reading the comics.
Well, this is what I really enjoyed about it. Well, first, before that, I think it's actually incredibly appropriate that we're discussing this on Halloween.
Yeah,
because a lot of this movie is basically just cosplaying.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, but then a lot of the interactions between the characters and their conversations and discussions just feels a lot like us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, no matter how people feel about Ryan Reynolds, some people love him, some people are tired of him, some people hate him. I think we can all agree that he was the perfect choice for Deadpool.
No, perfect choice for Deadpool. I was thinking the same thing. This is the role he was meant to have.
Yeah.
Not Green Lantern.
No. There is a nice little Green Lantern reference in this, though. During the opening credits. And then also when he gets his powers.
But I mean, I get those that may not be his biggest fan because he plays a type of character in some of his movies that may not be the most likable person.
Yeah,
and he plays that role kind of often. Though I will remain a fan of Waiting. Yes. Always will be a fan of Waiting.
Oh yeah.
Which is in some ways what I still kind of think of as being the very typical kind of Ryan Reynolds role.
Yeah.
Even now, having watched Deadpool, kind of outside of that.
Yeah. But I mean, he's
always years. He's really kind of integrated, kind of meshed well within kind of that character.
Yeah. And I mean, even before Deadpool, sure, most of his characters were pretty much the same character, but he did it well. He played that douche really well.
Yes, he did.
But he's the perfect choice for Deadpool.
I think what else? I remember first seeing him also in that TV series, Two Guys and a Girl.
Oh, yes. Two guys, a girl, and a pizza place with Nathan Fillion. Shortened to Two Guys and a Girl later.
Ryan Reynolds, though, in some ways, maybe I shouldn't say in some ways, but outside Deadpool here, maybe Waiting. His cameo in Harold and Kumar.
Mm-hmm.
But why? We don't have marijuana here. It's a really big bag of marijuana. Anyway,
we'll do Harold and Kumar one of these days.
Yeah, it's funny. We haven't really brought that up very often.
We haven't brought it up in a while.
And we like Harold and Kumar. Yeah, I mean we've talked about our journey.
Yes, where we've mentioned our Harold and Kumar adventure. We haven't gotten into details of it because we haven't done the movie yet. That's a good story for that time.
So like mentioned, it's funny though. So we talk about this pre-show. X-Men Origins Wolverine came out in 2009. Deadpool came out in 2016. That's a 7-year gap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a longer gap now between the first Deadpool movie and now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize going into this, and is that Marina Baccarin was in this?
Yes.
I was
Marina Baccarin.
Wow.
Yes.
I did not know that. I realized Gina Carano was in it, but I had no idea that Baccarin was in it.
Yep, Vanessa.
I had not thought about her in a while, to be honest, and I was pleasantly surprised to see her showing up in this. Yeah. So, before we really get more into the meat of the movie, did you read a lot of Deadpool comics or follow him a lot, prior to even before X-Men Origins?
No, not really. I knew of him, but I never really read any Deadpool comics before. I still haven't really read much of Deadpool. But I mean, I've known of him, and
I don't think I even like, I guess, X-Men. I didn't read a lot of X-Men comics, right? Mm-hmm. I know he was more like with an X-Force, which we get into with the sequel. But at least with Marvel, I was far more into reading like Daredevil, Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
now, since this movie came out, I've read up on Deadpool. Not necessarily reading a bunch of the comics, but reading about him, like learning about the character.
Yes, right. Gotcha.
Different adventures and stuff that he's been on, team ups and whatnot. But
because he's one of those ones, kind of like Venom, that kind of debuted like early '90s or so, and kind of became fan favorite.
Yep.
But I would do more about Venom than Deadpool.
Yep.
And there's some Venom movies also, which aren't quite as popular as the Deadpool movies.
No, I mean, I've enjoyed them though.
So
the Venom ones.
I have not seen the Venom movies either.
I thought they were.
I'm behind on a lot of these more recent
decent movies.
Movies, even the MCU. So
yeah, well, I mean, you had to go and start a family and all that. So
so
that kind of eats into your movie watching time.
Deadpool's not the most family friendly movie. So when I'm choosing to show some movies, that I really want to watch as well, I'm starting with the classics.
Yeah,
like Raiders and Jurassic Park and Star Wars, and we can move up to Deadpool. About 6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe not Die Hard. Die Hard maybe will be 2 years.
Oh yeah, got to start them over with Die Hard.
And we will do Die Hard.
Yes, we will.
Which
Yes. So I first saw Deadpool in the theater.
Okay.
I went to it with my friend. I've actually seen each of the Deadpool movies in the theater with him. But yeah, so I saw it and loved it. Thought it was hilarious. And there wasn't a whole lot of memorable stuff that happened in the theater. For this one, there was some kind of memorable stuff that happened for the second one, which we'll get to in the next episode. But
next week.
But yeah, then I saw it opening weekend.
Okay.
It might have been opening day, like opening night, but it was at least opening weekend. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's cool. Well, I guess we should get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've watched it many, many times since then. It's always a good one. I've
still only seen it once.
Put on, and like if you need something in the background, it's always a good one to have on and stuff like that.
I actually almost watched it again because it's been almost a week since I watched it, and I thought, oh wait, I should refresh myself because I was watching Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
and I was like, I need to keep it all straight.
Yep. So yeah, before we get started talking about it, spoiler alert, we are going to be talking about the entire movie, beginning, middle, and end. So if you have not seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled, then pause the podcast, watch the movie, and then come back and listen. If you don't mind being spoiled, or if you've seen the movie, then keep on listening.
Spoiler alert, Robert Downey Jr., his penis makes an appearance.
No, it doesn't. Not in this. I don't know what version of the movie you watched, but...
There's not much spoil in a movie like this,
but Ryan Reynolds' penis may or may not make an appearance. Depends on how well you can make out a silhouette. But
kind of like when Bruce Willis takes a shower in Pulp Fiction. Depends on how you if you go frame by frame, like what do you really see?
Mm-hmm.
You might get some of his bush, but
this has been Dong Talk with Rob and Tony.
Which if I was to pick a movie that would happen in,
are we going to have to?
It would probably be towards the top of the list.
Probably. But are we going to have to start a spin-off of this podcast?
No.
Are we just talking about...
We're not going through the Ron Jeremy filmography. Strangely enough, though, Michael Fassbender, since he does end up playing Magneto, we talk about the X-Men. There's plenty of movies where you can definitely make a pod off his dong. So, okay. And before we lose everybody,
okay.
I particularly, I like how the movie just, it starts, drops you right in the middle of action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we get Deadpool sitting
And
on the edge of an overpass, drawing a picture with a crayon.
Yeah.
Listening to some Salt and Pepper.
Hey.
I love
it. there is the number of 90s references in this movie. Like, here's the funny thing about Salt and Pepper. Like, I knew of them in the 90s. I probably couldn't tell you what they sang in the 90s. But yeah, no. And I love how they even just reference, like, yeah, no, you're just taking 90s references. Yeah. Anyway, these drawing pictures. I love the little Deadpool art that we see throughout the series. It's really well done. Is that really like his artwork, or did someone else like do all that artwork?
That is a good question. It would be awesome if it was his, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
I have to look into that.
Huh.
But yeah, so he's seeing they were passing, like, at first it's just narration, right? Typical narration. And what's he talking about when he first gets into this? He's kind of getting into his story.
Yeah.
He ended up at this point.
Real quick, what I loved about this, like the whole marketing for this movie was so well done. It was marketed as a love story.
It is.
It is a love story,
and even
he even talks about it.
Is also a love story.
And so it's because the first one was marketed as a love story. The second one was marketed as a family film.
Yeah, well, right.
So,
both of them were trying to recreate their family.
Yeah, so
but it's also a love story.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah. So even Deadpool goes in his narration. He talks about how this is a love story. But it's just, I thought the marketing for it was really well done.
Yes. But, any of these movies, just because it's got a lot of profanity and strippers and whatever it might be,
It
doesn't mean it can't be
interesting Stan Lee cameo.
Yes. The most interesting Stan Lee cameo. Like, when he filmed that scene, was this like,
we'll
Stanley
get to
Kubrick and Danny?
Maybe.
And it's like, oh yeah, you're just going to be a DJ.
Maybe.
Yeah, just a DJ. Kind of reminds me of Scorsese's cameo in After Hours, where he's a DJ.
Yeah. But anyway, so Deadpool's on the overpass. And we're not sure what he's doing, but we know he's there for a reason. He's just sitting there just grooving to Salt and Pepper. Listening to Shoop. And some SUVs come driving by. And he jumps down into one. Right through the sunroof. And we get that opening credit sequence.
It's such a great sequence.
So great.
I can't wait to see how they do the opening credits for the third one.
But you're gonna like it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it
right away.
I can't wait to talk to you about that one.
It's completely tongue in cheek. It's satirical and just making fun of the different roles and like, oh yeah, this character's playing this stereotype. This actor's playing this stereotype.
Yeah,
like,
and it's got a hot chick. It's got written by the real heroes here. A gratuitous cameo.
The gratuitous cameo, and anyway, I won't get into that too yet.
But it's sort of because it's sort of a freeze frame in like the middle of a fight inside this SUV.
No, well, the thing that's the freeze frame, it works well because it also mimics really well like comic cells.
Yeah, it really does.
So it just looks like how you might kind of read a comic three-way chase sequence, right?
Yeah, and it's sort of the camera's kind of panning along the different areas of the car, you know, the different people in there and all that, and it's panning over the wallet that's like flying out of the out of the pocket, and there's a picture inside it, inside the wallet of a very familiar looking green clad superhero. That was played by Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it's not an exact rendition of it, but it's close enough that you know what they're referencing. But
this movie does not
far enough away that they don't get sued.
Yes, no, because Green Lantern is not a completely different comic company.
Yeah.
The less said about the DCU, the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, so goes into there. Then we got
what the other thing I like about all this is that like it drops you into like the middle of the movie.
Yes, it drops you in the middle of the movie.
Like a lot of times, like, you know, you might have like it might be like the towards the end or like towards the beginning of like the third act. No, this just drops you right in the middle of the movie.
It drops you in the middle of the movie because like you're saying, usually if it's a flashback type of thing, they'll start at the end, then the whole movie will be a flashback leading up to that point.
We'll get into that because, like,
it's, you know, this one, it drops you in the middle, and then it goes into a flashback, kind of jumps back and forth between flashback and current time. But then pretty much everything after this point is just following, you know, chronologically from here.
Yeah, no.
For the rest of the movie. Once after the flashback's done. After the flashback catches up.
Yes. I mean, there's still more within this kind of the sequence that happens that then kind of goes back and forth a little bit. But
yeah, so he's in there, and it's actually a couple of flashbacks. Because there's the first flashback that's just showing how he got to that place.
Yes.
Like getting in Dopinder's cab.
Yes.
You know, the immediately before the sequence.
Flashback.
Yeah.
Yes, because he has to tell. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is like they kind of complete the opening credits as he's tearing through multiple, you know, an envoy essentially, right? And there's other cars going around. Somewhat, it's fun. I don't know if it's funny, but it reminded me a bit of I don't know why, but like a lot of times I see like big freeway like sequences like this or chases. The Matrix Reloaded.
Yep. I was about to say the same thing.
Matrix Reloaded freeway sequence is one of my absolute favorite action scenes in any movie.
Fantastic part.
Easily
one of the best parts about that movie.
Like this one, this one's not on that level. It's not supposed to be on that level, so it's not there to completely compare it. Right, but he's tearing through. He's shooting and slicing through people on this, and and he kind of just states that he's seeking out like revenge, and he's trying to find
against a guy named Francis.
Responsible. Yes,
we don't know who Francis is. We just know he's looking for Francis. But yeah, so he's mid-fight, and the Deadpool voiceover, like, let's see how we got here. And then all of a sudden, he's in the back of a taxi. And he's like sitting there chilling in the back of the taxi. Until he's kind of bored, puts his hand out the window, starts doing a little waving in the wind, kind of picks up a brochure.
He just gets bored. He gets bored.
Picks up a brochure out of the back of the front seat. And, plays around with some gum that's stuck on the ceiling. Just climbs in the front seat. Just climbs through the window, the partition, and into the front seat. And starts talking to
I love how he's like, he starts going through. He's like, I need a little help. the cabbie's just like, I have to keep my hands on the wheel.
Like, I have to keep my hands on the wheel.
He's gotta be the proper. He's not gonna break the rules.
Yeah, I mean, he's Dopinder.
He's Dopinder. He's a spiritual brother to Max.
Yes.
He's not gonna break the rules.
That's right.
But he's gonna form a bond with his passenger.
Yes. So yeah.
He was also in there with murderous intent.
Yeah. Yes.
He gets in there. I love how Dopinder just introduces himself. His ride just climbs through the back, gets in the front. That's his name. I'm Dopinder.
Then he doesn't even when Deadpool introduces himself as Deadpool, Dopinder doesn't call him Deadpool. He calls him Mr. Pool.
Mr. Pool.
Mr. Pool.
Again, he's polite.
Yes. Played by Karan Soni.
Yes.
Hope I'm saying that right.
I brought it up on my phone, but yes. And I don't think we mentioned it yet, but he is kind of your stereotypical young Indian male.
Yeah.
So, let me bring up. Yeah, I had his name also, but and they talk, and and Deadpool he's looking around and he sees a picture of this nice woman on the thing, right? And Deadpool's like, oh, it's this is just nice. And Dopinder's like, oh, it smells good, right? Because he's a cabbie. He's making sure his cabin smells nice.
Yep. There's an air freshener right next to the picture. It's like, oh no, I was talking about the girl. It's like, oh yes.
Dopinder's like, again, he's being proper about this. She's lovely. She'd make a very agreeable wife. But her heart has been stolen by my cousin.
My cousin Bantu.
All this is actually important for later in the movie.
Yes, it is.
Because Deadpool then briefly then just abruptly leaves to.
Yeah, well, they get to their destination.
Yes.
Well, actually, first off, before they start talking about the girl, about Dopinder's girlfriend, Deadpool realizes that he left his bag of guns.
That's right.
At home.
That's right.
And Dopinder's like, well, should we turn around? He's like, no, don't worry about it. I got 12 shots. Because he's got 2 Desert Eagles. So.
And also, it's also actually an important point, since we are talking about how it is a love story, and Dopinder's talking about his love.
Yes.
Deadpool, has a love too, and he's not talked about yet.
Yes. Yes.
That's here, and he's thinking about his daffodil daydream.
Yes. He's thinking about his daffodil daydream. That was the that was the air freshener. His daffodil daydream. But
I love though how finally he notices he's in the red suit. It's like, why the fancy red suit? It's like, because it's Christmas. And I have someone on the naughty list.
I have someone on the naughty list. So they get to the destination, and Dopinder tells him, how much the fare is. He's like, oh, so I never carry my wallet with me. It ruins the lines of the suit. So, but how about a crisp high five?
You hope, that, I'm a firm believer that considering what happens with them, that eventually, he does pay Dopinder back.
I would imagine. I would imagine.
If this was
with how close these two become.
At this point, Venmo wasn't quite as ubiquitous as it is today.
Yeah.
It's almost there, but not quite that. It's 2016. It's not there yet. So.
Yep. But yeah, so he gives him a crisp high five and leaves. And then that's where we get him back on the, on the overpass, and it leads right into this fight.
Yep, it drops right down.
Drops right down there. Then it's a quicker shot of what was going on during the opening credits.
Yeah, now you get the full actual.
You get the full sequence. So he takes all the guys out in the car, ends up flipping the SUV over, and then it's a shootout on the bridge. He's behind the SUV, using it as a shield. Puts his hands up, yells out to him. He's like, "You might wonder why I'm wearing red. It's so that nobody can see me bleed." That guy's got the right idea. He's wearing those brown pants.
He pooped.
But yeah, so then he knows that he only has 12 rounds, 6 in each gun. So he decides to do a little countdown. And he's counting his shots. And almost all of them are great shots. He wastes a couple of rounds, and but puts a couple extra bullets into one of the guys, and he's like, "Stupid, I like how worth it."
They also pause on each of the bullets, and they have the numbers on
the primer. It's got the number of the bullet, which number he's on his countdown.
But yeah, he wastes a few, but he's worth it. You also got to remember he left his ammo bag.
Yes, he left his ammo bag.
He has to make these count.
Mm-hmm. So then he runs out of rounds. He runs out of ammo, and decides it's time to pull out the swords. He's got 2 katanas on his back.
Yes.
So he pulls them out, and one of the guys that he shot right between the eyes. This guy clearly has some sort of ability, because the bullet hit his forehead and just stopped it, and it didn't go through. So he just stands up, pulls it off.
We are in the X-Men universe, so
where there are mutants.
There are people with mutant capabilities.
And Deadpool is a mutant.
Which has not been explained yet in the movie.
When they first start shooting at him, he takes one in the arm, and he just looks through the hole in his arm, sticks his finger through there, just wiggles it around.
But that again, that's the type of thing that's awesome about this movie, right? He just kind of does things like that okay, yeah, if you're not being serious about it,
and then I mean, Deadpool, his mutant ability is he has a healing factor. Basically, he heals just as quickly as he can be injured. So an injury just heals real quick, like Wolverine. Only he doesn't have the claws or the adamantium skeleton. So after he takes a couple of guys out, that he just starts dancing in the middle of the road, in the middle of the street, and he gets shot in the butt. He gets shot in the ass. He's like, "Oh, right up Main Street."
There is a funny scene later, though, where he basically Black Knights it.
Yep.
Anyway, but so
this guy,
this is going on, and of course, this is a freeway. It's the middle of the day. It gets some news attention.
Yeah,
and we get a cut sequence to Xavier's mansion in the school.
Is that now, or is that after the first? Is that after a little bit of flashback?
That's a good call. I know it's along all of this.
Yeah, I think that's like in the cuts in the like during the flashbacks and stuff, like when it's cutting back and forth.
Okay.
Or maybe we see Xavier's mansion first, and then it cuts back to the highway, and then after flashback, then that's when they get there. Either way, there's a cut to Xavier's mansion.
Colossus.
News feed on Colossus is sitting there eating some cereal in the kitchen.
Yes.
Watching TV.
Which is great because like Colossus is always kind of underused in the X-Men movies. So it was not, I like this series because it actually gives Colossus his due.
Yes. And it actually makes him Russian.
It does make him
in the X-Men movies, he's not Russian.
He's hilarious in this.
Yeah. Colossus is great in this. But he gets up and he goes and gets his trainee that's working with him, Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It's an awesome name.
Yes. And they go to the X-Jet and take off to go to where Deadpool is. But
by the way, Negasonic is played by Brianna Hildebrand.
Yep. And
then Colossus the voice is Stefan. Give me a check. Yeah. What has he been? I wondered. I would see his actual face in.
I was looking him up earlier. He hasn't been in a whole lot.
I mean, he's been in movies, but I can't pronounce them because they look like they were made in Eastern Europe.
They probably were. But yeah, so we get
he plays a character named Arsa Frog Karlstana. So there you go. I mean,
yep.
Oh, there's a movie where he had a brief role as a policeman in a Batman shirt in some Eastern European movie. So
all right, well, sweet Russian Batman. So. This isn't Red Sun.
I don't know if I want to see the Alfred that was in the KGB.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a scary Alfred.
I survived Gulag, Bruce. All right.
Make your own damn dinner, Bruce. Do your own laundry.
Vodka takes staying out.
Wipe your own ass. In Mother Russia. Ass wipes you.
For some reason, Ben Kingsley just wipes Christian Bale's ass. Shout out to Trans-Siberian.
Listen to that episode. But anyway, so we're back at the highway, and this big dude that the bullet didn't work on starts walking up, rolls up his sleeves. prompting Deadpool to, like, really rolling up your sleeves.
He's just looking at the Raiders like come on. Seriously?
Yeah, so Deadpool pulls out
You're the real heroes of this movie, and that's what you wrote?
Yeah. So Deadpool pulls out his katanas, and as the guy lunges at him, he stabs him through the stomach and lifts him up over his head. And then it freezes again, and we get another voiceover. He's like, I'm sure you're sitting there next to your boyfriend who told you this is going to be a fun movie. And when you're like, oh, I thought you said there was a love story. Well, it is a love story. Just listen.
Imagine if, you recreate Gladiator. I know Gladiator 2 is coming out, but reimagine Gladiator. The first Gladiator. Almost a shot-for-shot remake in some ways, like the Gus Van Sant Psycho with Vince Vaughn and Anne Hesh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... but then he kind of do it in the style of Deadpool. And then the scene where Russell Crowe puts in his swords and then the guy with the pig mask, and then they just kind of quiver there, and then and
he pulls him out of his chest, and scissors his head off.
Yeah, but that's the point where he would cut back, and he would go back to his wife and his son.
Yeah,
right before he scissor cuts a dude's head off.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it cuts back to a flashback, farther back than the previous flashback. Like this was 2 years earlier.
Yes.
And
he's delivering a pizza.
No, he's not delivering a pizza. First, it zooms in on some bedazzled pants.
Oh, it does.
The back of some bedazzled jeans. And we're made to think that that might be Wade Wilson, Deadpool's alter ego, played by Ryan Reynolds. But it pans up, and it's not him. It is not. Instead, it is Kyle Casey, who plays Gavin Merchant. And there's a pizza guy at the door. Jeremy, played by Style Dane. And the guy's like, I didn't order a pizza. What are you doing here? And then we hear from the other room, he's like, who ordered it? And we hear from the other room, I did.
That's right. Yes. That's right. I forgot. He was already in the room.
And Ryan Reynolds comes walking out of the other room, out of the bathroom.
They're like, wait, aren't you the guy for waiting? Why are you here?
And he pulls a gun, and the Gavin, the guy who lives in the apartment where they are, who had no idea that Wade Wilson was in his bathroom, starts freaking out, thinks he's there to rob him, so he pulls out his wallet and gives it to him. He's like, here, just take it. So he takes the wallet, puts it in his pocket. He's like, thanks. But I'm not here for you.
Here for you. Here for him.
I'm here for you. And he points the gun at the pizza guy. And he tells him that he was sent there by Megan Orlovsky. Orlovsky.
Yeah,
he can't pronounce it. He's trying to figure out how you pronounce it. But yeah,
Polish names are weird.
So this pizza guy apparently is a stalker, and he's been stalking this girl. And so she hired Muscle to take care of him.
Not, stalker, but like in the incredibly creepy type of stalker's way, just awkward teenage boy type of way. So, yeah.
So, he puts the gun away and pulls out a knife.
Wade understands that.
Yeah.
So
Wade puts the gun away, takes out a knife, and, while he's eating a piece of pizza, talking to the guy. Then acts like he's going to give Gavin that piece, and he drops it on the floor.
Poor Gavin.
Yeah, poor Gavin can't even get a piece of pizza.
Free pizza. Or just... But... At least he got a free pizza because the other guy... Anyway. So.
Yeah. So... He, threatens Jeremy, the pizza boy.
Who is appropriately threatened. He is, again, he's not that bad of an ass.
Yeah.
He is someone that's definitely going to comply with this type
so
of
he agrees
threat.
to stay away from Megan. And Wade's like, okay, we're done here. And he leaves.
Then he goes he meets Megan and says that he's gives her a photo of Jeremy being like scared shitless.
Yep. And tells her that he's not going to bother her again. So
she's kind of like, what's interesting, kind of put it 2 years in the past, but it's funny looking at this. Like, it's a skate park, but it almost feels like a skate park from the early 2000s and not like
the mid 2010s. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Which maybe part of that is just the perception of Wade.
Maybe.
And how he's filtering things. How we filter things. We filter things much more through that time period.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, so we and by the way, the pizza place. Just a little.
Yes.
So one of the great things about Deadpool, like we were saying, is he breaks the fourth wall. He'll crack jokes about everything because he can break the fourth wall. Yeah, so he'll make Marvel jokes, DC jokes, MCU jokes, Fox jokes, whatever. The pizza place that pizza came from is called Feige's Pizza.
Okay.
It's like Kevin Feige.
Oh, yes.
From the MCU.
That makes sense. There you go. I was going to say, I liked it when he gets back there. He's like, it's like, he just kind of muses like, I should have brought my rollerblades. And I love how Megan has a friend's like, think you could fuck up my dad. He's like, no.
Yep.
And just walks away.
Yeah, so then after that, he goes to...
You get the line where Megan's just like, you're my hero.
Yep.
Right? You get the hero
He's
line.
like, I'm not a hero.
Like, no, I'm not.
I'm not a hero.
Right?
Yep. And then he goes to Sister Margaret's school, or Sister Margaret's Home for Wayward Girls. Which is the name of a mercenary bar.
Which, when you meet the proprietor, it makes a lot of sense. He would come up with this name.
Where we meet Weasel, played by T.J. Miller.
He's hilarious. What brilliant casting!
Yeah, he was great in this movie.
Hilarious. I almost feel like that. Like this movie almost just needs a scene. It has nothing to do with any comic book movies. Is the Derek Zoolander School for kids
who can't read
who
good.
want to learn how to read.
Kids who can't read good and who want to learn how to do other stuff good too.
Just and have the monument outside for the freak gasoline fight accident.
Yes. Oh, we've got to do Zoolander someday. So we get. So Wade goes in there. He's talking to Weasel, and tells him about the kid that he just scared to death, and and he finds out that Weasel bet against him in the Deadpool.
Yeah,
they have a bet going on which of the mercenaries is going to die next. They call it the Deadpool. And Weasel had put Wade down. And Wade's offended.
And as we find out later, Weasel bet on the wrong person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Wade sees Vanessa. Morena Baccarin. She is a prostitute / stripper, who he goes up and, after he gets paid for his job that he just did, because Weasel's kind of the one that handles all the money for the mercs. So he goes and talks to her, and Buck comes up, the big dude.
I'm Buck, and I like the fuck. That's a Tarantino movie.
Buck comes up, and he slaps he slaps Vanessa on the ass as he walks by. And Wade, tries to defend her, and she steps in. She's like, "Keep your hands to yourself, fat Gandalf."
That's what my favorite lines in this movie.
Fat Gandalf. Oh, yep.
Which, if you haven't figured out, and you haven't seen the movie, he's a fat biker type. And he's got a big beard.
Yep, he's got a Gandalf beard.
His white Gandalf beard. So he's fat Gandalf. So fat Gandalf would still be pretty badass.
Yeah, so Wade takes the money that he just earned from scaring the pants off of the pizza guy, and he asks Vanessa how much time that would get him, or what that would buy him, and she's like, 48 minutes of whatever the hell you want. So the next scene, they are at an arcade.
Fair or arcade.
They're at an arcade playing skee ball. Skee ball is Wade's game.
Oh, it's his game.
So they're playing it.
Go overhand the balls into the 100 slot.
Yep.
With his eyes closed.
Yep. So they're playing. He plays skee ball, wins a bunch of tickets, goes and gets a Voltron ring, a limited edition Voltron ring.
What an awesome move. She's like, this is your 48 minutes. This is what you're doing.
Yep. Like, hey, you said anything I want. So he's excited because he's gonna. It's these like the 5 mini lion robots linked together to form one big robot. And
so the Shakara stones and Temple of Doom, when they bring them all together, they glow.
Yep. Yes, the 5 mini lion robots, when they come together, they don't glow, but they become one big giant robot called Voltron.
Or the rings in Captain Planet.
Mm-hmm.
Create a dude named Captain Planet.
A dude named Captain Planet.
Not sure about Captain Planet.
Yep.
But
you need fire, earth, wind, water, and heart.
I think that Voltron and the Shankara stones are a lot cooler. Mm-hmm. My apologies to the Captain Planet fans out there.
Yeah, so he gets the ring, and Vanessa only has a few tickets, so she gets an eraser.
That's kind of foreshadowing, isn't it?
Huh. I guess it is. But yeah, so he makes a deal where he gives her the Voltron ring, and she gives him a few more minutes. And then we have a montage
of sex.
A montage set to Neil Sedaka's Calendar Girl.
Of sex.
Where they're just having sex all through the year. While Neil Sedaka's singing, I love my calendar girl. Yeah, my calendar girl.
Each month has a specific holiday
and
that they commemorate.
Yes.
Including International Women's Day.
Yes, including International Women's Day, which Wade does not seem too thrilled about.
Are you sure about that? I think at the end, I'm sure he was probably okay with what happened.
Oh yeah, he gets something shoved where the sun don't shine. But
Before we get any further in this.
But they got Halloween, they got Christmas, they got New Year's, they got Chinese New Year. And they even have Lent. They abstain during Lent.
They do. It's like a Josh Hartnett movie. Figure out that movie, okay? That's a reference. It's not Pearl Harbor. I'll tell you that.
40 Days and 40 Nights.
The Faculty.
It's 40 Days and 40 Nights. I'll save you some Googling.
Before all this, I forgot the part where they're kind of trading like sob story, like backstories.
Yes.
Which is that's a good thing to remember that happens.
Because they realize that you know his crazy matches her crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're going through, you know, the shit they've had to deal with in their lives, and they both realize that, you know, they're sort of kindred spirits.
And along with the money he had to offer, he also had a gift card, or rewards card.
Yes, a rewards card.
To a froyo place.
Yes.
So there used to be a lot of froyo places. If you're not old enough to remember that.
Yep.
Not just Sweet Frog or whatever is there now, but I don't know.
So then at the end of this montage of sex, then it's Christmas. And Wade decides it's time to propose to Vanessa with a ring pop. And then she asks him where he's been holding that ring pop. Because he's not wearing any pants. So there's no pockets.
This is when Jason Segel walks in.
Oh, there's a pocket.
Nothing but a ring pop.
Yeah, so he gets up, you know, and then, you know, goes to the bathroom and then collapses. You know, right after she said yes.
She says yes.
She says yes.
Happy.
They're happy.
He makes a joke about how he spent 1 month's salary on a ring pop.
Yep. And
then technically, like, he's a lot under the table. So, But yeah, he goes to the bathroom before, you know, and then he just collapses.
And then he collapses. And then they're in a doctor's office talking to the doctor. And they find out that Wade has late stage cancer. And he doesn't have a long time to live. And so then you get into this, you know, and this part's actually very much like, you know, some like love story movies where
this is actually,
it's like,
well, here's the thing about Miranda Baccarin here. Like, she does a lot back and forth with like Wade and some of the jokes and the references, but she's called to do a lot of like the dramatic, heavy lifting,
a lot of like serious dramatic stuff.
And like, so there's a whole scene, and like this part is actually very true to life. This part where like they're at the doctor's office, the two of them are at the desk, you know, in the office with the doctor.
Yeah, she's talking to the doctor,
talking about the results and about options,
and he's just staring at her.
He's staring at it, and like
he's not saying a word.
Denial, not saying a word, and like.
And then
it could be the part where he's just cracking jokes because, like, that's what someone just might have to do in that situation.
But no, the voiceover comes in and he's like, "Yeah, Vanessa's talking to the doctor, going over options, going over, you know, just all the details. Meanwhile, I'm just memorizing every line on her face, every detail of her face, like it's the first time I've ever seen it.
And even the way he's kind of talking about it is like actual, like a love part of it where he's thinking about it. It's like, They're both doing it, and it's an obvious shift for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well done. It makes it actually seem like, yes, this is a love story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then they're back in Wade's apartment, and they're arguing because he wants to just give up, and she won't let him. He doesn't want her. He doesn't want her to have to deal with him dying of cancer.
Right.
He loves her too much to put her through that. But she won't let him. She won't let him leave. She assures him that we'll get through this together. Then we've got him back at Sister Margaret's.
Don't they cut back briefly to the freeway?
Yes, they do. They cut back the freeway.
They cut back, and this is here where they cut back a couple different times before then they go completely forward.
Yeah,
on the timeline.
Yes. So they come back to the freeway, and we're back to where it froze before, where he's standing there with the guy above his head and his sword through his stomach, and he just scissors the swords out of the guy's stomach. He drops dead.
He's just cut in half. And this is where,
then
I love this part. This is where it seems like, now, if I was a 200-pound bag of asshole named Francis,
where would I be?
Where would I be?
And this guy gets on a motorcycle and starts riding away, but Deadpool stops him.
Well, he throws one of his katanas.
Yes, he throws one of his katanas
into the wheel.
Yeah, into the spokes of the wheel. Indiana Jones style. Makes him wreck the bike. He goes up, picks up the guy. He's still got his helmet on, so we don't see who it is. And throws him up against the guardrail on the side of the concrete guardrail on the side of the bridge.
This is one of my favorite lines. It's like, wait,
knocks the helmet off his head.
Regina, Saskatchewan.
Yes. Lines up his shot.
And that's why Regina rhymes with fun.
Yeah, that's why Regina rhymes with fun.
He means vagina.
Yep. It kicks him right in the face. Like right in the head, as if it was a football. Kicks him right in the head. And drags him over, puts him up against the guardrail, knocks his helmet off, and we see that it's the guy that he's been looking for. It's Francis. And so that was cool.
He's like, do you recognize me? And then Francis is like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, he's like, how about now? He pulls up his mask, and we see that his face looks a little bit different than it did, during the flashback where when we saw his face.
Ryan Reynolds.
And and Francis recognizes him. And then we have Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead show up. Right when Wade's about...
No. Right before that, even before that, he tells Francis he's going to do to him to what Limp Bizkit did to music in the 90s.
Yes, that's right. He's going to do to him what Limp Bizkit did to music in the 90s.
I take umbrage with this because Limp Bizkit did some amazing things with music in the 90s.
And he did it all for the nookie.
All.
So you can take that cookie and stick it up your Stick it up your Stick it up your
But he's going to break his fucking face tonight. Well, he keeps on rolling.
Oh, but yeah. So, yeah. Then we have Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead show up. And, there's some playful banter between Deadpool and Negasonic. Because she's she's a millennial,
I mean, I think she's a teenager. She's got to be like Gen Z.
Yeah, true. She's more Gen Z.
Ryan Reynolds has got to be the older. He's like the older millennial, younger Gen X. I mean, older Gen X, younger Gen X, I guess. Yeah,
younger Gen X, older millennial.
He's the The Zennial.
Yeah, the Zennial. Like we are.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers to the Zennials.
Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail generation.
I do like how he doesn't recognize Colossus walking up behind him. And he raises his hand. And he ends up hitting Colossus in the crotch.
Yeah. and then he starts feeling around. He's like, Dad?
But I like how like Megasonic, she doesn't know what to think about him at first because she's kind of an angsty teen, and he's just kind of this smart ass 40-year-old dude, and what's he about?
Yep. So Colossus is trying to reason with Deadpool, not to kill Francis. And so he's not listening, so Colossus starts dragging him away. Yep. And grabs him by the wrist. Tries carrying him away. Meanwhile, Deadpool's trying to fight him. Tries to punch him, breaks his hand. Tries to punch him with the other hand, breaks his other hand. Tries to kick him, breaks his foot.
This is the Black Knight aspect where he's got 4 broken limbs and
it's only a flesh wound.
Walking around, kind of funny, and
it's just a flesh wound.
But it truly is just a flesh wound. He just has to wait for it to heal.
Because he has a healing factor. He can heal real quick. But
whereas John Cleese does not have a healing factor.
Yep. No, he doesn't. He's just a torso on the ground.
We should probably do Monty Python.
Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, so as Colossus is dragging Deadpool away, he pulls out his knife and he's like, have you ever seen 127 Hours? And so he cuts off his hand at the wrist with his knife in order to escape Colossus's grasp.
I thought this was a really funny reference because I remember when the movie came out, 127 Hours, James Franco.
Yep.
And, it had a lot of Oscar buzz. James Franco rightfully received an Oscar nomination.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he was great.
Mostly just him.
He was good in that movie. It was.
Trapped between, basically pinned between a boulder and a cliff.
For pretty much the entire movie.
Yes. And there's some flashbacks where he talks with people that, his loved ones. But most of the movie is him trapped. And he carries the movie. He does it well. And it's Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle's a good director, but you don't hear a lot of people really talk about that movie anymore. Now, granted, this is 2016, so it's a lot closer to when the movie came out.
Yeah.
But still, nice reference.
Yeah.
But before, we got a cut back, though, again, to the apartment.
No, it's
Vanessa.
In
a way, between all this,
that's after. So that's
cuts between.
Yeah, that cut is after he cuts his hand off and falls into the back of the garbage truck.
That's right. Thank you.
So once he falls off he cuts off his hand, pushes himself out of Colossus's grip, and he falls down to the back of a dump truck. And so
Negasonic, and it allows
Francis to escape. So that's what drives him to break his hands and feet on Colossus and then get drug away and cut his hand off. Because he knows it'll grow back. So when he falls into the dump truck, that's when it does the flashback again.
Yes. And they're back in there, and he's talking about his most prized possession.
Yes, that's right. That's
Wham.
Well, first, his most prized possession, and then there's also an action figure of the Deadpool from X-Men Origins.
Yes.
And
The one with
we're meant to think,
no
because the
face.
camera's zoomed in on that, so we're meant to think that that's his most prized possession.
But no, it's
But no,
Wham.
it's a Wham record. And she's like, Wham? It's like, no, Wham! And then there's a very important thing. He's like, someday I'm gonna say anything. He's like, I'm gonna stand outside your window and boombox Careless Whisper to you. Yeah, this is when they have the little argument on Wade's well-being.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to give up, but he doesn't want her to go through all this. So then finally he just gets frustrated and leaves and goes to Sister Margaret's. And he's talking to Weasel. And he's like, well, looks like you're going to win the Deadpool. And Weasel tells him that there's somebody looking for him. A creepy looking dude.
He is creepy looking.
Yeah, played by Jed Reese, who you may know from Galaxy Quest. He's one of the aliens in Galaxy Quest.
Yes, he is. Guy.
And it exploded.
You are our last hope. We've said it before. We will do Galaxy Quest.
We are from the Klaatu Nebula. You are our last hope.
You can't see that. Sorry.
Yep. Anyway, so
he's like a recruiter. It's kind of,
he's a recruiter for this secret, experimental lab.
Yeah, it's this is pre-Squid Game, so he wouldn't be expecting to, try to fight to the death in a series of games.
Yeah, but no, he
like in the Squid Game, but
presents to Wade a way to cure his cancer.
Yes,
basically being a guinea pig in this lab where they make superheroes. And Wade doesn't really have anything to lose, so he goes along with it. And that's where we meet Ajax. The same guy that he was calling Francis earlier.
Yes.
But he introduces himself as Ajax. So Wade doesn't know his name at this point in the flashback. So he... And he's got a sidekick, a henchwoman, played by Gina Carano, named Angel.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't have a lot to say in this movie.
No. She's a badass in it, though.
She is.
But yeah, so basically this lab is they torture people to the point where if they have... latent mutant genes, then basically it'll activate them. They try to get them to the point where it'll activate these latent mutant genes. So I would imagine if it's somebody then they sell them to the highest bidder, basically.
To the highest bidder. It's like, have you seen like the second Jurassic World movie where they just sell the dinosaurs?
Sell the dinosaurs.
Bidder. Kind of like that.
Yep.
Without Toby Hall.
Yeah. So they lied to him when they recruited him. Because, I mean, if they told him that they were going to be torturing him, then he probably wouldn't have gone. But yeah, so they put him through all these different, tortures, and we found out that, Ajax, he was a patient there too at one point. Yeah, he was one of the lab subjects, and when his mutant ability made itself known, he has the ability to not feel any pain.
Yes.
And I mean, with some of the stuff that he does, there's got to be some super strength in there too.
Yeah, no, he definitely has
and a certain degree of a healing factor. Nowhere near what Wade has, but
I would imagine those are kind of related to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I would think to be able to have a certain amount of super strength, there's a lot of stress that you put on your body to exert, right? Yeah. But the less if your nerve endings are not feeling anything,
mm-hmm. then you can push yourself
probably
farther.
Exert more force.
Yeah, you can push yourself farther. That, so right? Maybe that's what. Maybe it's not like a certain level of super strength. It's just he's able to push himself past his limits because he can't feel those limits.
Okay. There's a moment here. I like how they make this workshop.
Mm-hmm.
It's very appropriate, right? It's very stereotypical, so it keeps within the aesthetic of the movie. Like kind of wink, wink, nod, nod about kind of joking about all of it. And I love his little thing where he kind of first introduces himself too. He's like, my name's Ajax. I manage this workshop. It's like, my speech used to be filled with euphemisms, right? Right. And I love how he plays it though.
Mm-hmm.
He plays it really straight.
Yeah.
We talk about this movie being kind of like a spoof, but he plays it completely straight, like an actual villain.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta give him credit.
Yeah.
For that. And Ed Skrein, by the way, we haven't even mentioned his name yet. Ed Skrein plays Francis or Ajax. Yes. So he's he doesn't have the humorous bone that Ryan Reynolds is bringing into the movie. But and he just bluntly says this workshop is not a government program. It's a private institution, right? And he just lays it down that they're going to inject a serum to, as we said, bring out those latent mutant genes that someone might have.
Yeah. So basically, if somebody's in there that they may think that they have latent mutant genes, but they don't, then they'll probably just end up killing the person through all this torture.
Yes.
But if they do have a mutant gene, then hopefully it will be activated. And so he's always right by his side is Angel, Gina Carano, and her mutant ability is she is super strong, super strong.
Yeah, no, yeah, she's got strength. Yeah, don't piss this lady off.
Yeah,
treat this lady well.
Yeah, angry Rosie O'Donnell or angrier Rosie O'Donnell. Things that Wade calls her.
So they start the test, right?
They're doing. They're starting out light, dunking him in ice water,
One second, I forgot. He does say that it enhances reflexes as well.
Yes.
So, and not just so he's got the can't feel pain, and he has the reflexes.
Yeah.
Enhanced reflexes.
Yeah, but I mean, I would have to say he's got to have at least some sort of healing factor also, to a certain degree. Nothing near what Deadpool has.
I mean, but if you don't... Okay.
Some of the stuff that happens to him...
So, if you don't have anything you're not feeling anything like that, you would need to have some healing factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like leprosy, that's basically what leprosy is. You don't have the nerve ending. So if you put your hand in a fire, you don't feel it, but then your hand continues to burn.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can't feel it.
And then you can't use that hand anymore. Yeah.
So, anyway, but he makes a joke when I talk about this, like, it's like you got something stuck in your teeth.
Yes. You got something stuck in your teeth. And, after Wade says that, then, Ajax starts the torture. Yeah, they start out small, submerging him in ice water, like in freezing cold water.
Yeah.
Little things like that. They're not working, so they start stepping it up. And eventually they get to... so actually, before they get to it, it's got... Wade is strapped down to his bed, and he's talking to the guy in the cell next door.
Cunningham.
Yeah, Cunningham. Yeah, they're talking about, if they could get out of here, what they would do. And they're...
naked tandem base jumping with the Sacramento Monarchs.
Yes. Stuff
which is
like
oddly, that. For this time, they make an oddly specific WNBA reference.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Yep. But yeah, so they're both like naming off outlandish things like that. And then Cunningham says, spend time with my wife and kids.
Well, I also like how they talk about giving Dutch ovens.
Yes. To Meredith Baxter Burney. And then receiving a Dutch oven from Meredith Baxter Burney. Then Cunningham spend time with my family, and then it makes Wade start thinking about Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
And how she's the reason that he's willing to put himself through all this.
Yes.
So that he can go back to her and spend the rest of his life with her. And then Ajax comes in. And this is when Wade calls him Francis. Because he found out his name. Because this whole time during all this torture, Wade kept on asking, what's your name? What's your name? Tell me your name, your real name. And he wouldn't tell him. And he figured it out. He figured out his name was Francis because he stole the dry cleaning tag off of his lab coat.
Yep.
And it said Francis on it.
I like that he takes his lab coat to a regular dry cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Or he uses his name Francis.
Yeah.
Not the in-house dry cleaning where it would just be Ajax probably.
Yep. But nope, he takes it to the actual... It's probably... it's probably just some little, mom and pop dry cleaner.
Typical dry cleaner that you would think of.
Yeah. Yeah. So
where even if you don't have your number, if you give them a name, they'll give you your clothes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And
anyway,
they might even, if you give them the dry cleaning ticket, they might even go in the back and take give you a pair of game show host pants that have been sitting there for years that they've been waiting for the person with that ticket to come in.
I do think it's funny though, because like when he reveals that he knows his name is Francis, right? Yeah, first he jokes like, "Oh yeah, he got the name Ajax from the dish soap," right?
Yep.
Was the first time I heard Ajax, I thought of the dish soap.
Yep.
I'll be honest.
Yep. Me too.
Like a lot of there's Dove and Palmolive, and then there's the third one.
And every
Ajax.
time I hear Ajax, I think of Regarding Henry. Which is a good movie, by the way. Harrison Ford plays a lawyer who gets shot in the head and gets amnesia, and he's got to relearn everything. And when he's relearning how to read, one of the first things that he reads is a bottle of Ajax on the kitchen counter. So he gets all excited with his family about how he just read the word Ajax. And so every time I hear Ajax, I think of that movie.
You think of Harrison Ford.
I think of Harrison Ford learning to read.
So anyway, I like how Wade, he's just like, he kind of, this the mocking way. He's like, oh, yeah, well, I got it off your coat. It's like, I could get you a superhero discount at the dry cleaners.
Yeah, get you a superhero discount at dry cleaners. Yeah. But so something we didn't mention about Angel is she's always chewing on a match. She always got a match in her mouth, like some people do with the toothpick, just hanging out of her mouth. And he comments on it. It's like, what's with the match? Are you just a big fan of Stallone?
Yeah, so finally, like, Francis is like tired of all his talk. He's like, hey, don't you ever shut the fuck up? He's like, I'll sew your mouth shut.
Which is an obvious reference to X-Men Origins.
X-Men Origins.
One of the biggest travesties they did to Deadpool in that movie was sew his mouth shut.
Wait, he just responds like, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
So, yeah, Ajax and Angel take him to this chamber. Yeah. It's like this coffin, iron lung type glass chamber. They strap him down into it. And it's this device that will, like, they can pump oxygen in or out of it.
Basically it's they're gonna suck all the oxygen out to where it feels like you're suffocating.
Yeah, where you're just on the edge of suffocation. If it senses that, because there's sensors in there. If it senses that you have too little oxygen, then it'll pump a little bit more in there,
and it'll pump it all the way back up. But
once you get to the point where you can actually start to breathe, then it'll suck it out again, so that you're just stuck in this constant state of being at the edge of your breath.
Basically catching your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
And so he's like, if this doesn't work, nothing will. So he puts him in there and, leaves him for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it does the trick. He starts, suffocating, and when he starts panicking and everything, then his mutant gene kicks in, and we just see his skin change.
Yes.
We don't know why yet, but his skin, he's not the pretty Ryan Reynolds anymore.
No.
Now he's Ryan Reynolds that looks like a burn victim.
He saw the pussy at the end of Waiting, and it scarred him.
It scarred him for life. Yeah. He saw that.
He saw the stunt bush.
Yes, he saw the stunt bush at the end of Waiting. And yeah, it scarred him for life all over his body.
But this is where you also say, like, did I say this was a love story? No, it's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. Yeah. So so then eventually, Francis and Angel come back and open up the chamber, and they notice that he's changed.
He's changed.
And Francis likes what he sees, because they usually don't get like physical changes when the mutant abilities make themselves known. And what causes this change, right, is he somewhat explains it. Francis somewhat explains it, but basically what it is Wade's healing factor is so good, so fast, that it regenerates the cells at the moment that they're destroyed.
Yes.
So it's like instantaneous healing.
Yeah.
And since there are cancer cells in his body, as those are destroying the regular cells, like the healthy cells, then the healthy cells are being
instantly
the healthy cells are regenerated, but so are as the cancer cells are being healed, they're also regenerating. So it's just a constant state of regenerating the cancer cells, but also healing them at the same time. So the cancer technically is not affecting him, but he just basically became walking cancer.
Yeah, no, like he's not cured of the cancer. It's there. He's just, yeah. I think the way you put it's very well done. So
yeah, the cancer's just in a constant...
cells can heal anything.
Yeah. So it's healing the cancer as just at like the same rate that it's spreading.
But Francis and like Ajax is fascinated by this, and he's saying like he could have the potential to cure this aspect of it, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he doesn't want to.
He wants to push him further.
So he locks him in the chamber again, but not before Wade takes a crack at Angel and gets her to lean in close, and he headbutts her, and the match falls out of her mouth. And so, she backs away, closes the lid, puts another match in her mouth, and walks away.
And in case you forgot, this is the device that is sealed, that can pump oxygen, pure oxygen.
There are hoses with oxygen hooked up to it, the pure oxygen,
and
pump it in and out.
If you missed that part of chemistry class,
oxygen is highly flammable. So, yeah. So
hydrogen and oxygen by themselves together, when they form water, not so much. Each of them by themselves, without the other,
explosively flammable.
Shit gets real.
So Wade, we see the reason he headbutted Angel was so that she would drop the match into his hand, and so he has the match. He flicks it with his thumb, gets his thumbnail to light the match, throws it over by the vent where the oxygen comes in and out, and just waits. So as soon as the oxygen starts getting sucked out, it ignites, blows up the oxygen tanks, blows up the facility.
Yep.
And sets him free of his glass coffin. And so then, we have a little fight with him and Ajax.
He says, "What's my name?" But he leaves. And Wade
this is where Wade's naked because he was wearing a hospital gown, but it caught on fire, so he ripped it off while he was before he started fighting Ajax. And so Ajax ends up getting a piece of rebar, impaling Wade on it and digging it into the ground and then bending the top of it.
He basically
So he's just pinned in there.
Rebar, he puts it down in there and then shoves it up through Wade, and he kind of gets down to the point where he kind of hooks it, so it'd be impossible to get it loose.
Yeah.
But again, it is a fire, so
and then Ajax leaves, and so then Wade sees
Cunningham,
his buddy, whose bed got flipped over, and he's kind of just laying there on the ground looking at him. They make eye contact, and they sort of, say their goodbyes without saying anything. And then the place explodes.
He should have used Cable's device for him as well. Maybe he did, and they just didn't show us.
Maybe he did. But, yeah, so Wade's the only survivor because he can't die. Because he can heal. So then this is where we go, and he's searching for Francis, and he decides he's going to make himself a costume, give himself a new name because he's a superhero now.
This is very Spider-Man 1-esque.
Yes. But I love it. He goes to Sister Margaret's, and he's sitting there talking to Weasel. Weasel looks at him, and he's like, "You look like Freddy Krueger fucked a topographical map of Utah."
I love that line.
Because he does.
Yeah. I couldn't come up with that. There's no way I could come up with that line. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The roasts that come in here, no. You look like an avocado that had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado.
Yeah.
And not gently. Like, it was hate fucking. That's right. There was something wrong with the relationship. The only catharsis they could find without violence. Emotional catharsis.
Yes.
I don't think Michael Bain and Linda Hamilton were these avocados.
Yeah. So then he's trying to come up with a name. And
right before this, like, he thought about finding Vanessa.
Yeah, but
and he kind of like stalks her.
Yeah.
And then he comes back because, like, he believes people are looking at him and staring at him. Because right now he just has like a hoodie on.
Yeah.
So, like, if they see his face, they can see what it is.
Yeah,
like,
they can see
profile, whatever. But, like, if you stare directly at him, you would see, like, his face looks fucked up.
Yeah, he's horribly
it looks like
scarred.
like Freddy Krueger fucked
a topographical map of Utah. But yeah, so
that's even better than I actually have a Freddy Krueger glass tonight.
Yeah, so
I didn't make that connection at first,
but it fits. Yeah, so he's following Vanessa through the street and, almost walks up to her, but chickens out because he doesn't think that she'll accept him with the way that he looks now and the way that he just left her. Like, she thinks he's dead.
Yeah, she's going on with her life. She's sad, but she thinks he's dead.
Because this is like 2 years later after they met,
Yeah.
It's a good year after their last meeting.
Right. Not quite 2 years because he's got to go and kill a lot of people first.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
But,
and she's kind of sad because he just kind of got up and left.
Yeah. So then
Not just that he has cancer. He got up and left.
Yeah. So he's talking to Weasel and they're trying to come up with a name for him, and Weasel's like, well, it looks like I'm going to lose the Deadpool. Or did Wade say, well, sorry, but you're going to lose the Deadpool now?
Right. Well, they're trying to come
sorry,
up with
I couldn't help you
also.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with a name, and then, they get to thinking, like
Scare Devil.
Yes.
Mr. Never Die.
Scare Devil, Mr. Never Die.
And then Weasel's like, just remembers, he's like, oh, shit. Wade's like, what? He's like, I put all my money on you in the Deadpool. And then Wade's like, Deadpool.
Deadpool.
And
Captain
like,
Deadpool.
No, just Deadpool.
Just Deadpool. And then we go into a montage of him going and searching for Francis.
Killing
everybody that he comes up across that even is tangentially associated with Francis.
He goes around the world just killing everybody.
And he starts out, he's wearing a white hoodie.
It's like John Wick. He just kills everybody.
Yeah. He's like wearing all white with a, mask and everything. And which is, reminiscent of his X-Force white suit.
Yes.
From the comics. But yeah, and then he realized he gets shot a lot. And so the blood soaks through the white, and so he's at the laundromat using a Tide pen, trying to get the blood out of this. Like the white sweatshirt is soaked in blood, and he's using a Tide pen.
Yeah.
And then we get this blind woman who's doing her laundry, and she's like, seltzer water and lemon for blood. You must be able to smell it or something because she's blind. She can't see it.
No, yeah. She's such a sage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Blind Al. Blind Al. So, yeah, she's like, or you could just wear red.
Which, they reference later.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. To bleed, you hide the red.
Yes.
You're going to shit your pants, you wear brown.
Yep. So then he gets the idea to wear red, so he changes his costume to a red one. And it's like a cheaply homemade, like better quality, a little bit better quality than the white one was, but still clearly homemade. And while he's...
By the way, Al is a former cocaine addict.
Yes. Well, former. There ain't nothing former about that.
No, there's not.
But so he's making his suit until he eventually makes his final Deadpool suit, the one that we've seen in the movie so far. And he's going. It's just showing. It's a montage of him going through killing people, looking for Francis.
He's killing everybody.
I love when he's on the ice skating rink.
Zamboni.
There's a guy crawling across the ice, and Deadpool's sitting there on a Zamboni. He's like, "Tell me where Francis is, or you're gonna die in 5 minutes." Because the Zamboni's going so slow.
He's just enjoying all these murders.
Yep.
Hey,
yep.
I don't blame him. So what is interesting, Al in the storyline, I like the idea because he's kind of in a flashback within a flashback.
Well, that's coming in a minute. That doesn't come until after it flashes back to
the fourth wall break within the fourth wall.
Yeah, so that comes when
around here.
Yeah, that comes when so after this montage of him killing everybody, then he finally goes and he kills,
getting the blood out of the laundry.
Then he finally goes and he kills. She recommends red, and then he kills more people. Got the Zamboni.
That's it. It's like, get back here. Yeah. All right.
And then he goes to the recruiter.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Yes.
So the recruiter finally tells him where Francis is right before he kills him. Right before he kills the recruiter. And so that leads us up to the cab ride, which then leads us up to the bridge and all that. So we're back to present time.
We actually get to see where he hops into Dopinja's cab.
Yeah.
Right? Because he kills the recruiter, and then Deadpool hails the cab, and it's Dopinja's cab.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. So
and then we got Deadpool. He addresses us. Then we know how all this turned out, right?
Yep. And then it fast forwards.
Well, we get the awkward scene where he holds a plushy unicorn.
Yes. Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah.
That we're not meant to see.
Yeah, you weren't meant to see that.
You can imagine where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He fixes the cable.
So we're back to the dump truck. Pulls up in front of his apartment. He jumps out. He's like, "Sorry for bleeding all over your trash."
I love that part. I love that line.
Seltzer water and lemon for blood.
It's a very heartfelt apology to those drivers.
Yes.
He stopped them. Let them know he was back there, and then he was going to bleed all over it.
Yep. He apologized for bleeding all over the trash.
He apologized. Yes.
Yeah. So as he's walking to the apartment, wrapping up his bleeding arm, his wrist.
So you got to remember, right? So he broke each of his limbs, but then he also chopped off
his hand. So, and while he's walking, that's when he mentions that he lives with Blind Al, the blind woman we met in the laundromat earlier. And then that's when
how to get rid of bloodstains.
Mm-hmm. And that's when it cuts back to the laundromat. And he's like, "Oh, what? A fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break? That's like 16 walls."
You have trouble with square roots. Anyway.
Yeah, so he walks to the apartment. She's sitting in the living room building the Cunin that they got from IKEA, while Wade puts on his big rubber masturbating shoes, his Crocs.
And unfortunately for Cal, even being blind, just building IKEA stuff, this is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
We'd think maybe that would be her superpower, but no.
No, Well, she gets it all, put together, sits down, and it falls apart. Then we see that his hand is starting to grow again. Like he's getting a new hand. It's like a little baby hand.
Kind of like in Scary Movie.
Yes, Scary Movie 2. Take my strong hand.
Chris Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, he can regenerate. Now, it's obviously he's got the healing factor. So, like, getting shot in the foot, like, that's going to heal a little bit quicker than regrowing part of a limb.
Yeah.
That's different. You get that. And he regrows it.
Yeah, so then he and Weasel, after his hand grows back to normal, he and Weasel go searching for Vanessa because Weasel convinces him that he needs to go see her. Then he needs to talk to her and tell her that he's okay, that he's alive. So they go to the strip club that she works at. And this is where we have our gratuitous cameo. Stan Lee is the DJ at the strip club.
You can imagine what's in the strip club. 90-year-old dude, strip club. There you go.
But yeah, so he sees Vanessa up at the counter, and he's about to walk up to her, but chickens out, goes into the bathroom, starts yelling at himself in the mirror, and Vanessa gets a message. There's someone in the alley, said something about an old boyfriend. And so she goes out there thinking that Wade is out there.
Because she's still thinking about him.
Mm-hmm.
Still very much in her mind. She has not accepted that he has died.
Yeah.
Which is good for her. He hasn't died. But, she thinks there's a possibility he's alive.
Yep.
They just need to find him.
Yep. So she goes out there. She sees who she thinks is Wade, but it's Francis.
Motherfucker.
And Francis kidnaps her. And then Wade comes out of the bathroom, and he doesn't see her anywhere. He asks Weasel where she went. And he's like, I thought I saw her go outside. So they go outside. They find Wade's coin purse that he had given to her. His Bernadette Peters coin purse.
Yes.
And he knows that she's been taken. So he calls Liam Neeson.
Perfect choice. Liam Neeson finding stolen people.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
Who would have thought of that?
So anyway, they go back to Wade's apartment and he gets a text from Vanessa's phone.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He thinks it's Vanessa, but it's really Francis.
It's Francis.
And he sends a shit emoji.
There you go.
And Weasel talks about how he thought it was chocolate yogurt for the longest time.
Chocolate, it's not chocolate yogurt. No,
it's poopy.
Not close.
It may have originally been intended to be chocolate yogurt, but
maybe
it's poopy. I think I heard somewhere that was the original intention for it was chocolate yogurt, chocolate frozen yogurt. But anyway, it's poop. Yeah, so basically it's Francis telling him where he can find Vanessa. So he gets all of his guns. He and Weasel and Blind Al collect all the guns from the apartment, put them all in a Hello Kitty backpack.
Yep. I like I love how they start to head out. There's a knock on the door first, right? And it's Negasonic, and this little Deadpool's like, Ripley from Alien 3. And she's like, fuck, you're old. Which, if these references are old, I don't care. Yeah. I'm going to use them.
Yep. But yeah, I love after they get all the guns together and he's getting ready to go, then Weasel's like, I'd go with you, but I don't want to.
Well, he's seen it.
Yep.
I don't blame him.
But yeah, so he gets Negasonic and Colossus to go with him, and they get in Dopender's cab, and they're driving.
Yep.
And
so they get in there, right? And, and so Dopender's like, he brought this twinkly man. Right? And Deadpool's like, twinkly but deadly. So my chrome penis friend do me a solid.
Yes. We forgot when he was sitting on the couch talking to Blind Al, talking about how he's got to work extra hard, because he's not pretty anymore.
Oh yeah, I know that. I know that feeling.
He's like,
I know it.
He really breaks the fourth wall here because he's like, you think Ryan Reynolds got this far in a superior acting method?
But they're driving in Dopender's cab, and then all of a sudden Dopender hits a pothole.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, he's talking about
scream.
Yeah, he's talking about Bantu.
Yes,
his cousin Bantu, and how he took Deadpool's advice.
But I tried to, Mr. Poole.
Mm-hmm. I tried to, Mr. Poole.
Bantu is more craftier and handsomer than me.
And so yeah, he hits a pothole, and you hear a little scream a little groan come out of the trunk. And everybody's like, "What's that?"
Deadpool's like, "What was that?" That was
Bantu.
Bantu in the trunk.
And then Colossus is like, Bon who?
Like,
Bon who? And Deadpool starts yelling at him. He's like, I can't believe you would do this. That's so great. I'm so proud of you. Why would you put him in your truck? Good job, buddy. It's like, this is unacceptable. Just kidding. I love it.
And I was like, and then like Colossus drilling in face, like, this got lost in translation. This is no way to guide his heart. Drop Bantu off, safe and gentle, like, kill him.
Yep. Kill him. So they get to where they're going, and you know, Dopinder parks the cab. He's like, Crisp high five?
Crisp high five.
He's like, Dopinder for you, 10. So he gives him a high 10. And they get out of the cab, start walking toward. So did you notice what is in this junkyard? The thing that they end up fighting on?
No, what's that?
It is a helicarrier.
Okay, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a giant helicarrier sitting in this junkyard. And Dopinder drives off. And then Negasonic is like, hey, where's your duffel bag? Deadpool realizes he left the Hello Kitty backpack full of guns in the cab. Yep. So he tries calling Dopinder, but he's driving, and when he's looking at his phone trying to answer it, he doesn't see there's somebody stopped right in front of him, so he slams on the brakes. And he stops. He stops just fine, but then he gets rear-ended. Somebody else rear-ends him, and then you hear Bantu scream in the trunk.
Do they discover Bantu? Tune in.
But so
Deadpool 2.
So then Deadpool's like, oh, well, guess we're going to have to go with 2 katanas and maximum effort. Because, so he had filled the backpack with all these guns, and then he also took Blind Al's little Derringer.
That's right, he did.
And he put that in his belt. So he has one gun. It's tiny. Doesn't have much ammo.
Tiny gun.
So he's going over there. And, Ajax sees him coming up, and so he sends Angel out. But Ajax is up on top of the helicarrier.
Yes.
So Angel goes up to the edge, and Deadpool gets all excited. He's like, she's going to do it. She's going to do it. Superhero landing. And she jumps and lands in superhero landing. It's landing in the kneeled position.
Yes.
One knee down on the ground, sort of arched down with one fist going down into the ground with the knee. And he's just all excited about the superhero landing and how it's wildly impractical and would be painful.
Because it is.
So all the henchmen come out. All the mercenaries who are employed by Ajax come out, and they're in a standoff, and Deadpool pulls his underwear out of his pants, uses them as a white flag. It's like,
good call.
All right, everybody, put your guns down, and maybe I'll give you preferential, borderline, gentle, maybe even lover-like treatment. And they all just start shooting at him. So he decides that it's time to just go slice through them. So he takes his swords out, and he's going slicing through them.
He takes those katanas and
kills a bunch of them, and then gets up to one of them.
Cut them all up.
Gets up to one of them, doesn't slice him up, but he hits him.
He does.
And realizes that he recognizes him. He calls him Bob. They recognize each other from back in their mercenary days.
Fridays in Jacksonville.
Yep. He remembers from TGI Fridays in Jacksonville. And now Bob isn't just any random character. He is a reference to a character from the comics.
Yes.
A Hydra agent named Bob. Hydra Bob, who Deadpool runs into frequently in the comics. He's a recurring, little side character. So there's a nice little nod.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Hydra Bob. So instead of killing him, he knocks him out. Then he proceeds to go and cut through some more mercs. Meanwhile, Colossus is fighting Angel.
Yes.
And he's getting his ass kicked by Angel because he's uncomfortable fighting a girl, but she has no problem fighting him.
I understand that, mostly.
And then...
Not be sure. Anyway.
So finally, he's about to get pounded into the ground by her, and Negasonic, her mutant power is she can cause explosions. Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She's basically a nuclear warhead in human form.
Yeah, essentially.
She can just generate explosions. So, she jumps over there and creates an explosion right by Angel, knocks her out. But actually, that comes in a little bit, because that's first there's a piece of scrap metal that she climbs under, tells Deadpool to get on it, and she blows herself up to launch him up onto the helicarrier where Francis and Vanessa are.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, he calls up to Francis and he's like, because Francis is like, "What's my name?" He's like, "I'll spell it out for you." And he ends up taking the dead bodies of the mercenaries that he's killed, and he spells out Francis.
Perfect joke. Perfect joke. I love it.
I love how he uses one of their severed heads to dot the I.
For the eye, yes.
Yeah, so then Negasonic launches him up there. He gets into a fight with Francis. Francis puts Vanessa into the oxygen chamber.
Yes.
But while they're fighting, Deadpool throws one of his katanas and it breaks through the glass to allow the air in.
Yes.
And also, it's in just the right place so she can use the blade to cut her bindings on her wrists.
Mm-hmm.
So that she can sort of get out.
Wasn't the plan, but that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And so he's fighting Francis, gets stabbed in the head, and then we get a fun little moment of "You're my inspiration."
My inspiration.
You're the meaning in my life. You're my inspiration.
Yeah. You do a far better job of imitating than I do.
You get this funny little moment while he's got this knife stuck in the side of his head. Where he's kind of going crazy. Because he has a knife disrupting his brain.
Yeah. It happens.
And when he pulls it out, everything goes normal again.
Yeah. I get it. I'm with him.
Yeah, so while he's fighting Francis, then that's when Negasonic blows up right by Angel to save Colossus. And that explosion causes all the debris and everything around the helicarrier and the base of the helicarrier to sort of collapse on itself, and the whole thing starts tipping over.
You're right.
And so Ajax goes falling over the side, and Deadpool gets Vanessa, puts her back into the oxygen chamber for protection.
Yeah.
While they're sort of sliding down this helicarrier. And then, he sort of tosses it over the side where she'll be protected inside while the thing collapses. And Colossus and Negasonic get her out of the chamber, and they're getting ready. They're dusting themselves off. And Deadpool stands up on top of all the rubble, and he's cheering, and then gets tackled by Francis.
Yeah.
So they're fighting a little bit more. Deadpool pins him to the ground, breaks his arms so that he can't fight back, pulls out that little derringer and points it at his head, tells him that he's gonna kill him if he doesn't, tells him to heal him, tells him to cure his scars. And that's when it's revealed, when Francis reveals that he can't do that. He can't heal him. He can't fix his scars.
No, he can't.
And so Deadpool makes a very, very logical argument that, you're telling the guy that you can't do the one thing that I'm keeping you alive for.
Yeah. That's essentially what you're bringing us down to.
Before he can pull the trigger, though, Colossus chimes in. He's like, 4 or 5 moments. He's like, what? 4 or 5 moments. Everybody thinks that being a hero is a full-time job. You wake up a hero, brush your teeth a hero, eat breakfast a hero. No, there are 4 or 5 moments in your life where you have a choice to make.
He makes a choice.
Save a friend, spare an enemy. And he's just going on and on about this hero. Then, Deadpool gets bored and I hear a gunshot.
Yeah.
He just shot Francis in the face.
He doesn't do that.
Yep, he just shot Francis in the head, and Colossus throws up.
Oopsie.
Colossus throws up. He's like, well, come on, you were just droning on and on.
Yeah.
Let's see a heal from that. As he's getting up off of Francis, then he's like, yeah, I know. I'll keep an eye out for the next 4 moments.
See how that goes.
So he goes over to talk to Vanessa, and she's mad at him.
Rightfully so.
And he's like, I live in a crack house with 12 people, and, we share everything, even condoms.
That's right.
She's like, so you have a house? And that's when he knows that they're going to be okay.
Yes.
Because back to your crazy matches my crazy.
Yeah. It's going to be okay.
So she wants to see his face. She wants him to take the mask off. He's like, you're not going to like what you see. And takes his mask off, and stapled to his face is a magazine cutout of Hugh Jackman's face. Which means this was under his mask, which means he put that on at home. He wore that on his face under his mask for this entire end sequence of the movie, just so that when she takes the mask off, it's Hugh Jackman's face on his. So she takes it off and she's like, yeah, that's ugly. It's going to take a lot of getting used to and a lot of drinks.
A lot of drinks.
But she still loves him. And they walk off into the sunset, basically. They'll walk away from the helicarrier. Yeah. And the credits roll.
They do.
And then the post-credits, because yes, it's a Marvel movie. I mean, this one's not an MCU movie. This one is a Fox Marvel movie. But
still need the post-credits.
There's still post-credits. So there's a post-credit scene where it's basically it's the post-credits from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's Deadpool. He's wearing the bathrobe. He's wearing the robe, the same robe that Matthew Broderick wore. Yes. He's like, what are you doing here? Go home. It's like the same little speech that Matthew Broderick did in Ferris Bueller.
Basically, yeah.
Yep. And then a couple more seconds of credits roll and it pops back in there. He's like, you're still here? Well, okay, I'll tell you something. We're working on the second movie now. I can't tell you much, but I'll tell you one thing. It's going to have Cable in it. We don't know who's going to play him yet. Drop. But it'll have Cable.
We didn't know at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know it's going to be Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Who's also going to be Thanos.
Yep. So that's Deadpool. Great movie.
Fun movie.
I love that movie. It's so funny and it's got some great action in it, and it's funny. I love it.
It doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Even if it is a love story.
Yes. And it is a love story.
Is there going to be kissing in it?
Is this a kissing book?
Oh yes, Fred. It is a kissing book.
So yeah, I mean the lovers are back together at the end. It's a love story.
They are. It's a great movie.
Yeah, and it was great. Yeah, like you were saying earlier, it was great music, like 90s music in it.
I mean, we're going to do Deadpool 2 next week.
Even some non-90s music.
There's great music in that.
Yeah, there is. Especially that opening sequence.
We'll get there.
And that, yeah. We'll get there. But yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I didn't think you wouldn't like it.
Highly enjoyable.
And I was real surprised when you said that you hadn't seen it before this.
Yeah. All three. Well, now really only Deadpool and Wolverine is the one I need to see. So can't wait to finish all of them off.
And you will enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine. I know it. I love that one.
Yeah, but not doubting.
Yeah. But anyway, anything else you want to say about it?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. It is Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. The and is spelled out, A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the name of the podcast. So go there, give us a like and a follow. If you enjoy the show, show us some love. And we're also on X or Twitter. That is R&T Cinematic. We are on Letterboxd if you want to come and see our movie reviews on there. And that is Cine Adventure or Cine Adventure, C-I-N-E Adventure. If you want to send us an email, let us know what you thought of Deadpool. Is it your favorite superhero/anti-hero movie? Is it your least favorite? Do you enjoy X-Men Origins Wolverine's version of Deadpool better than this Deadpool? What do you think? Let us know.
Please don't say that you do.
But yeah, you can send us an email at robandtonyscinematicadventure@gmail.com. Once again, the and is spelled out, A-N-D. It's not an ampersand like the name of the podcast. But yeah, just let us know what you think. Are there particular movies that you think we should cover on this podcast? Because we want to do...
Yes.
We want to do movies that interest you. We want to do movies that interest us and also movies that interest you. Because we want to keep you listening. We want to be able to get some good content out to your ears.
We do.
But yeah, so if you enjoy the show, go to your favorite podcast app. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us a good rating, a good review. Comment on our stuff. Let us know what you think. And, if you give us a comment on our social media or on our podcast, give us a review, whatever, then we'd be happy to give you a shout out on one of these episodes.
Yes.
So
we would.
Yeah. But we want to hear from you. We want to get to know you. So anyway, as you've probably guessed, and actually we mentioned it at the end of the last episode, but we're going through the Deadpool movies. So next up is Deadpool 2.
Which has Cable.
It has Cable.
And Vanisher.
Don't spoil everything. We know it has Cable because Deadpool just told us that Deadpool 2 is going to have Cable. But yes, it also has Vanisher. But Yeah, so it's going to be a good one. I can't wait to talk to you about this one, Tony.
There's a lot in this, and
it's like the Deadpool movies are one of those.
It's a sequel.
One of those few sequels that like arguably get better as the movies go on, like as the sequels come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could understand that argument. So
I, of course, I'm going to be watching the super duper cut, the extended cut.
It's a good point that
Deadpool 2.
We will discuss the super duper cut.
So, I mean, there's not a whole lot more added to it. There's just a couple of minutes. It's just a few extra jokes here and there. Maybe a little bit longer, like a couple more shots in various montages. There's not a whole lot added to it, but
it's not like the numerous Blade Runner cuts.
Yeah. Where
each one is definitely different.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you have access to the super duper cut, then you might want to check that one out, because that's the version that we're really going to be mostly talking about. Even though, if you can't get the super duper cut, then the regular theatrical cut will be just fine, because like I said, there's not much difference between the two.
No.
But yeah, so join us next time for Deadpool 2.